All right, good evening, everyone. Hello, my name is Rebecca, and I'm an event planner with the Orange County Library System. Welcome to tonight's virtual event, Ask a Lawyer, presented by the Orange County Library Association. Orange County Bar Association. This project was made possible in part by the Institute of Museum and Library Services. In tonight's event, you will have the opportunity to speak with a panel of attorneys to get insight and guidance on landlord tenant law and estate planning and probate. Before we begin, I would like to share a couple things about Zoom. Please keep in mind everybody's videos, besides our speakers, will be turned off. You will be muted unless you are asking a question, then you may unmute yourself. If you have a question and would like to speak, please use the raise your hand feature located at the bottom of your Zoom under reactions. Also at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat feature. Go ahead and open that up. You can let us know in the chat if you have a question, and we will be numbering from 1 to however many questions we have. We'll be numbering your name next to a number. So that's the order that we're going to have questions be asked. Please respect others and wait to be called on. We want to avoid people speaking out unless it's your turn. Again, if you're calling in, please unmute yourself. We can see that you've unmuted yourself, and we'll add you to the list, and then please wait to be called on, and then you may ask your question. Without further ado, I would like to begin by introducing Skiles Jones, our moderator for tonight's event. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Great, thank you, Rebecca. Good evening, everybody. My name is Skiles Jones, and I'm the owner and founding attorney of Patriot Legal Group here in Orlando, as well as an Orange County Bar Association member. I'd like to thank you for attending our Ask a Lawyer event sponsored by the Orange County Bar Association and the Orange County Clerk of Courts. Before we get started, allow me to give you a little background about the Orange County Bar. The association has been around for 85 years. In addition to serving the needs of our members, one of our goals has been to reach out into the community and provide services and programs that will benefit Central Floridians. Some of our programs include our members' pro bono work with the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar Association, our lawyer referral and information service, our Law Week program for school children of Orange County, and our free citizen dispute and family law mediation program. The citizen dispute and family law mediations are facilitated by an impartial professional mediator who listens to both parties and encourages a resolution that is satisfactory to both parties. By reaching a settlement, both parties avoid court costs and the uncertainty of a trial outcome. This is a free program for anyone residing in Orange County. Tonight's Ask a Lawyer event is just one of those programs, and we hope you feel free to ask any questions you have about landlord-tenant law, estate planning, and probate. The Orange County Bar attorneys Lynn Aust of the Aust law firm and Clifford Geismar of the law office of Clifford J. Geismar, PA, will help guide you, and myself will help guide you through some of the tough issues that you want to know about. Tonight's event will be recorded and shared on the Orange County Bar Association's Facebook page. Please be sure to like the page if you're on Facebook. And now I'd like to introduce Roberta Walton. Ms. Walton is the inaugural manager for the Self-Help Center and the operations manager for the Orange County Clerk of Courts Family Services Division. As the Self-Help Center manager, she oversees services offered to self-represented litigants interested in family law, landlord-tenant law, and small claims cases, to include attorney consultations offered in collaboration with the Orange County Bar Association. Roberta?
Hello, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. I am going to attempt to share my screen, if I might, because I'd like to share just a little bit about the Orange County Self-Help Center. Again, as our wonderful moderator just explained, my name is Roberta Walton, and I am an operations manager for the Orange County Clerk of Court. Our dear clerk of court here in Orange County, Ms. Tiffany Moore Russell, had a keen idea when she was elected to serve back in 2014, and she put it into implementation within a short few months to ensure that all residents within Orange County had access to the courts. What she found is that lots of people throughout Orange County come to the Orange County Courthouse each and every day asking for assistance, asking how to access the courts on their own behalf. So she did some benchmarking, some research, dug deep, and found that individuals filing small claims cases, family law cases, and residential landlord-tenant cases, the great majority of those individuals are attempting to represent themselves in court. With that said, when you now come to the Orange County Courthouse, you can come to the Orange County Clerk of Courts Self-Help Center, located on the 3rd floor in room 340, to garner some assistance if you intend to represent yourself in court. We are a one-stop shop. I call ourselves a full-service clerk program because what we do is we have case triage services where we offer a full service document library for you to purchase the forms you need. We give you those forms. We answer any questions that you may have about those forms. We ensure that they are complete and ready to file. We collaborate with the Family Court Case Management Office and other collaborative partners to ensure that all of the documents you need to represent yourself in court are there. Should you have additional questions about those services, about those forms, we offer attorney consultations where we've also partnered with the Orange County Bar Association to ensure that you can meet with an attorney for $1 a minute. $1 a minute in 15-minute increments. You can meet with an attorney, answer any questions that you may have to receive that guidance regarding the case topics that we've discussed to represent yourself in court. Once you've met with your attorney, you can stick around in the Self-Help Center because you can still file. We have 5 full service deputy clerks there ready to, again, ensure that all your documentation is complete and to file those cases on your behalf with the court system. We have 3 full service computers for you to do your due diligence. And again, Orange County Clerk Tiffany Moore Russell wants to be certain that you and every other Orange County resident has access to the courts. Here on your screen is just a little bit about what we do. Again, that full service document library, those self-help computers. We offer notary and copy services for your court filings only. The filing assistance, triage services, and of course, the attorney consultations that we partner with the Orange County Bar Association for $1 a minute. Right now, we are still meeting virtually, so we're doing things safely. Your attorney consultations are online. They can be scheduled via our website at www, right down here at the bottom, myorangeclerk.com. You can schedule that Self-Help Center consultation with an attorney, and we will send you a link, a Zoom link, so that you can still have your one-on-one virtual Self-Help Center attorney consultation safely from the comfort of your home or your workplace. So again, we're located downtown Orange County Courthouse, 3rd floor, room 340. We would love to have you. Should you have any questions about any family law matter, a small claims matter, or a residential landlord-tenant matter. Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator and panel. I appreciate, as always, you all having the Orange County Clerk to share a little bit about the Self-Help Center. If any of the guests have any questions, please come visit us. And again, that information regarding where to schedule your Self-Help Center consultation is in the chat. Thank you again.
Great. Thank you, Roberta. And at this time, I will open the floor for questions regarding landlord-tenant law, estate planning, and probate. And just as a reminder, please place your questions in the chat window, or if you're calling in, unmute yourself, and I'll address those questions in the numbered order there. Right now, we have a number 1 there that is usernamed iPhone. Please go ahead and unmute yourself for audio video and go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear someone. Go right ahead. What's your name?
Okay, my name is Jason Padilla, and I own a mutual asset with a Jasmine Woodcock. Basically, my question is that without my consent or my approval, my residence was rented out in October of 2020. I realized this in January of 2021, where she kind of kept it for me. And then I realized I had to Google my own address to find out what was going on. When I found out, she had collected rent from October until January. And I told her that
Jason, it sounds like you cut off there just a second there, but I think your question is in regards to someone is renting out your house without your knowledge or consent. Is that correct?
that is true.
Okay. Cliff, would you be able to answer a little bit to that?
Jason, can you fill in a few facts for me? I think you said do you own the house?
So it's co-owned. So I own half and my ex owns half.
Okay.
Now,
Hold on a second. Let me stop you. I want to accurately address your question. Who is renting the house?
So I met them the first time last week. They've
Who's
been
renting out the house? Who put the house up for rent?
Miss Woodcock put it up for rent.
And is Miss Woodcock your ex?
Yes, she's also the co-owner.
Okay, I understand. Go ahead.
So I didn't realize she had put it on the market to lease until January, around there, because I wanted to sell the house, and she said, well, we can't because I have to wait till the end of the year. But she never disclosed why. So I took it upon myself to research and find out what was going on. So I looked up my address, and then I found an ad on Zillow. Therefore, and then I went on the MLS website, and then I found out she put it on the market. Then I put two and two together, and I realized that she had started a lease with some tenants. She admitted it to me after a while. Therefore, she was collecting rent from October to present, which is half of it is due to me. Now, I didn't approve or consent to any of this at all. If it were my choice, I would move back into the house. But seeing that we have tenants there, I cannot do that. Now, my question is there legality issues here? And do I have any rights as far as being the landlord or the co-owner, even though I am not a part of this lease that she has started with these tenants?
Do you have any written agreement with Miss Woodcock?
No, none whatsoever.
Did you finance the house with Miss Woodcock?
Yes, I did.
And you're both on the deed?
Yes, we are. We're both on the deed, both on the mortgage. Now, here's a catch. So I had an injunction, so therefore I couldn't go back to the property, and I couldn't have any communication with Miss Woodcock. So therefore, I had to modify it because I was getting letters from the HOA saying it wasn't getting paid. So I had to pay it, and I told the judge, I said, we need communication, some kind of form of communication. So she granted the modification. So after that, I realized that there was tenants in there. And then I realized she wasn't living at the address. So therefore, I was able to go back to the address on the property to do a walkthrough to see how everything was. And come to find that the yard was in terrible shape. It's a brand new build too. There's a lot of things that were going on with this house that I didn't approve of. And I could see why the homeowners association was sending letters. So I was pretty worried because I'm going to put it on the market sometime. but I don't know when.
Did you
but-
say Miss Woodcock is sharing the rent with you?
No, she hasn't given me a penny. So I'm in the middle of a small claims lawsuit for back rent, because she wouldn't give me what was due to me, seeing that she had this rent.
Well, I think you definitely have rights. You're co-owner of the property. I think you do have a right to part of the rent, which you're pursuing. What would you like to see happen?
So this is the thing. At the end of the day, I would like the back rent. At the end of the day, I would like the back rent that's owed to me. For the future, I don't know. I don't know if I want to keep it or if I want to sell it. But the hard part about it is that I want to go back to the house. And the hard part about it is that the tenants are there, so I can't do anything about that.
Well, as a co-owner, you may have the right to sell the house, to ask the court to partition the property and sell it, because you're a co-owner of the property. Now that gets a little complicated because you have tenants at the premises currently.
Yeah.
But I think within that, if you wanted to sell it, you'd have to go into court and petition and ask the court for a judgment or an order allowing you to sell the property. You could also ask the court to divide up any of the rent proceeds in that proceeding and address any other issues that are outstanding. They could probably be brought up in that same proceeding. So I think it's important that you identify what you want, what your goals are, and then proceed accordingly. If you just want the rent, then you may just want to pursue the claim for your share of the rent as co-owner.
So that small claims is in mediation as we speak. So I'm pursuing that half of the rent, also the HOA fees that I paid, along with any other personal items that were in the house that she had taken.
Right.
Now, this is the thing. We had filed a forbearance plan back in March of 2020 because we were both furloughed, so we didn't know what to do. So that was in effect the whole time she was renting it out. She decided to extend it, where I got a notice in March. She extended it to July. So therefore, the mortgage is not being paid at all, right? And then she's taking the rent and pocketing the rent money. So the rent is not going toward the mortgage to build equity on the house.
Right. You may need more than a small claim. You may need to do more than just look to account for that rent. You've got a situation that appears to need attention. It needs to be rectified.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it may involve more than a small claims action to recover your share of the rent.
So does this sound like, what she's doing, does that sound like borderline fraud, or does that look bad does that look worse on her if I decided to take it to a lawsuit, a partition lawsuit?
Well, I don't think the issue is I think the issue is what your rights are as far as the property are concerned. Your rights are pretty clear as co-owner.
Yeah.
Whether she's committing fraud or not, that may be a separate cause of action against her.
Yes.
But the partition, you have a right to bring that as co-owner of the house, assuming that you own the house as tenants in common. The court is going to grant a partition. It sounds to me like you may be entitled to other relief as well. I'd be happy to speak with you further about that.
Okay. That'd be great.
Jason, and one of the things that you can do is get a hold of the lawyer referral service at the Orange County Bar, and they can get you hooked up directly with Cliff, or you can contact Cliff directly at his office. But you're looking for a landlord-tenant issue, and that's just like Cliff said, you've got a number of different issues that you'll need to address, more than just that small claims rent issue.
Yeah. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You give me a lot to work with here.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Cliff. And if anything, I'll reach out to you I don't know how you do the messages, but if you could send your information, that'd be great. Unless if I have to go through the lawyer referral.
Is it is it okay that I give my my number to this individual?
I believe
Got it.
so, Cliff, you can.
My number is 407-673-1087. I'm happy to speak with you, Jason.
And in the chat is also the lawyer referral service phone number. If anybody wants to contact them, you could ask for a landlord tenant attorney and they'll get you hooked up with somebody to contact. All right, thank you, Jason. We're going to go to the number, the next person. Just says Pixel 3A, and the question was about avoiding probate and living trusts. Pixel 3A, if you can hear me, what's your name there?
Hi, my name is Missy.
Missy, great. Tell us, Missy, yes. Tell us, Missy, what's going on?
So I don't have a mortgage on my house. And I just wanted to know, like, as far as like, I only have one child. So I wanted to know about the probate. I wanted to know about the, what I just posted, the differences between the situation that I just posted and how do I avoid probate? Would it be better for me to do a living trust? What would you recommend for me to make sure that it transfers over to my daughter? She's 25 years old. If something should happen, what would be the best recommendation?
Okay, great. Lynn, I'm going to refer this to Lynn Aust here to answer your question there.
I would probably, in that situation, if probate avoidance is your primary objective, I would consider setting up a revocable trust, a revocable living trust, some people call it. It's like a basket. You put your assets in the basket, and the basket says who gets it, when, and how. So you don't have to go to court. Your family doesn't have to go to court to say who gets it. That would probably be the simplest probate avoidance technique. There are a lot of extra security with the trust that you would not have in other methods, like a simple will or payable on death or transfer on death beneficiary designations.
Okay, so which is, so the what did you just say? The transfer on death. That was the other question.
Yeah, if you set up an asset where you can name a beneficiary, and there's several different ways. One is transfer on death, one is a beneficiary designation, one is payable on death. They're all the same outcome. You pass, it goes to whoever you've named in with that asset, or whether it's a bank or an investment company. The beauty of it avoids probate. And the person who is named as the beneficiary just has to provide your death certificate or even a copy of your death certificate many times, and it transfers.
Okay, and who do I file that with?
Well, there's no filing there. You look at what your assets are. If you buy a certificate of deposit, a CD, that's a bank product. You name a beneficiary. If you open up a checking account in a credit union, typically that's payable on death designation. It's the type of investment that allows those designations. That's not anything to do with the court. It's how you set up your assets. The only thing that it doesn't have those extra protections of a trust. I'm sure your 25-year-old daughter is very, very responsible, but if she marries, you're laughing, if she marries or is hanging with somebody who's not a good influence, you may not want all that asset to go into her hand immediately. You may want to meter it out over time and with certain restrictions, and you can only do that with a trust.
Okay, yeah, so tell me a little bit about a trust and then we're done.
Okay, basket, assets in the basket. Trust says how they get it. Most of the time, I will recommend as a starting point, there will be an interest on their share as their initial distribution, their initial inheritance after you die. Then a few years later, they get half their share. And a few years later, they get the balance of their share. And I have structured, and Skiles has structured, and Cliff has structured all different kinds of ways for this. For kids that are spenders, for kids that have, God forbid, drug problems, that are married in a bad marriage. We can do all kinds of flexibility in trust that you can't do in a payable on death or beneficiary designation.
Okay, so what is the benefits of the trust versus the death transfer of death? Because would I avoid the probate with the trust also?
Both vehicles avoid the probate. So they're great both for probate avoidance. But if you want to plan for the what ifs, the life's contingencies, the trust works better. Payable on death is you die, they get done.
Okay. Okay, I mean, she's a responsible 25-year-old, but she's a 25-year-old, so
Right.
We never know.
Yes.
Yeah, so we don't know what the future holds.
Well,
Okay.
I like my trust to plan for the trustee. You're gone. Your successor trustee can withhold her distribution if your successor trustee knows that she's in a bad marriage. Because we don't want exiting hubby to take half of her inheritance.
Exactly, so that's why a trust is better?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what is the cost difference between doing that? Because I would have to file with an attorney to do a trust, right?
Right. Every attorney is different. Ours is hourly. Payable on death is free. You purchase the investment, you set up the designation. But with a trust, there are a lot of other documents that accompany it that protect you. The trust protects you if, God forbid, you become incapacitated, but really protects your 25-year-old daughter. You definitely want to set up a durable power of attorney. If you become incapacitated, who's going to write your bills? Who's going to pay your bills? Who's going to take care of your finances?
Yes.
So there's also the same thing for healthcare surrogate designation. Who's going to make your healthcare decisions if you can't? So it's a whole package of documents.
It all goes into the same thing as the trust.
It's not in the trust, but it's with the trust.
Okay. And then what about, so what else did I say? Yep, I think you answered all my questions. Oh, the disability. I'm on disability. So how does that work into anything, or does it not?
It depends on if your disability is needs-based, meaning low income based, or strictly based on your disability. If it's strictly disability, we add extra provisions into that trust. If it's needs-based, we add different provisions into the trust. Either way, payable on death, transfer on death, beneficiary trust, if disability is not going to be a no-go.
Okay. And what about the taxes on the house? For every year, I don't owe anything. I mean, I pay my taxes and everything, but like, I don't know, what does that have to do with either one of those situations?
Nothing. Property taxes on the house will follow the house. So if your daughter inherits the house, she gets the property taxes to pay unless she chooses to sell it. So it doesn't matter the other things.
And then what about transfer of deed?
If we have a revocable trust, and if we have put your house in that trust, the big word is if, then the trustee will issue a trustee deed to transfer it out of the trust into your daughter's hand if that's where you designate you want it to go.
Okay.
If you don't have a trust, we have a thing called a Ladybird Deed, and that's probably beyond the scope of this. Just there is a way to put on the deed who inherits it, and it's called a Ladybird Deed.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you think in relation to this that I need to know, that I need to make sure is included? It sounds like I need to do a trust because that's the safest way to make sure everybody is good.
And I know most of your questions are based on probate avoidance. You need to also think about protecting yourself. Who's going to pay your bills? Who's going to make your healthcare decisions? That's really probably more pressing than avoiding probate for right now. They're both important.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because of the disability, it could happen that I need that.
Yeah.
And that's under the trust as well.
It's part of the trust package.
Okay.
It's a package of about 7 documents.
Okay. All right. Anything else I need to know in regards to that?
Nothing that I can get into that's within the scope of this evening.
Okay, thank you. Well, and can I have your number?
Let's do this. Call the Orange County Bar Lawyer Referral Service number at 407-422-4551. Tell them you were on Ask a Lawyer and you want Lynn Aust.
Lynn Aust, A-U-S-T?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
There you go. Thank you for that question, Missy, and thank you, Lynn, for your answer there. And if anyone has estate planning questions, it's obviously here a few minutes of initial questions we can answer, but a lot of times we'll do a much longer, more in-depth personal consult with folks so that you can have your specific situation addressed. And everybody is different, just like Lynn said. So there's a number of things that go into trusts and estate planning in general. Okay, I'm going to go to the next person here is Shannon Aviles. Shannon, are you, go ahead and unmute yourself. Can you hear me?
Yes, I've unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead, Shannon. What's your question?
Well, I wrote it in the chat thing to try to make it.
See if I can see it there. Okay.
Make it. And then I can explain if you can find it.
I do see. So it's federal government COVID relief legislation.
Slash HHS, which is a U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, which has also issued the COVID public health emergency, which impacts landlord tenants.
Okay, and what is the question relates to landlord tenant?
Well, it also, if you read my chat thing, it impacts me dealing with two landlords that I'm in the middle of, and both in breach of contract, both cost me a ton of money, both had me hire two attorneys, and then COVID shut down. I couldn't go to court. And one of the landlords actually, it involved also the attorney general getting involved, something like almost a year after the fact, and they're not doing anything. And the attorneys I had trying to stop the evictions, I was being evicted while I was trying to move in repeatedly. And the other landlord that I was moving out of gave permission to the neighbor to steal my utilities for the 4 years that I was there. He actually reported that when the attorney general investigation occurred. Finally, I had to ask for a supervisor because the attorney generals were writing me off and not doing anything about this. And that neighbor, I called the police many times. And the last time that neighbor, actually, when I confronted him, he actually on my video of my phone admitted to stealing my utilities for 4 years and a bunch of other stuff, which I gave to the officer and he did nothing with. And I tried to give a statement to the sheriff's, they wouldn't take it. Went to the attorney general, took them almost a year to get to it. Then they blew it off. And I had to fight to get a supervisor to get involved. So she took all my information and then said, you know, that she would get back with me. And then she just got back with me and said, there's nothing they could do. And that landlord also breached the contract because he had me on a month-to-month after my lease was over, because the new landlord lease I had hadn't fixed the plumbing. It was flooded full of mold that went from going on for 3 months. In the meantime, I'm paying her, and she's filing eviction notices on the door that I can't even move into the house yet for lack of payment. All kinds of stuff went on.
Sure,
So
I understand. And so is there a specific question that you have that we might be able to address in just a couple of minutes here?
Yes, what occurred is that I couldn't take any of these landlords to court because the court's closed, and the attorney I was working with, who was able to stop the stop the evictions just to get me in March of last year. He said, we'll have to wait till the court's open. You have 4 years. And regarding the landlord who, you know, criminally admitted to, and the neighbor criminally admitting that they, to the attorney general's office, and I have all that in writing too, because they gave it to me, about the utility theft. He goes, I can't handle that. You have to get a criminal attorney. I can't, bottom line is, I haven't been able to find any attorney to help me with any of this. My lease is up at November and of this year. And I don't know if this landlord, who is the one who kept trying to evict me before I moved in because she didn't want to fix all the plumbing and all the problems in the house, I guess. I don't know. Bottom line is, I doubt she'll renew with me even 1 year, much less 2 years. I had a 2-year lease. But if she does, she'll probably want to raise the rent $1,000 or more, which is what's going on in this whole area starting last April. And of course, it's going on all over everywhere in the United States, including Orlando. But in this area, it's like very extreme renewal rates and rental rates over the least amount I've seen, and I've been monitoring it for a year, is like $550 up. But now you don't see that anymore. It's 1,000, 2,000, up to 3,000. It's ridiculous. And under this COVID public health emergency, they say that your landlord, they cannot increase your rent or not renew your lease and they can't do all this. I need help. My husband and I, we're running out of time.
Right. It definitely sounds like you've got several causes of action that you might be able to go after there. Obviously the eviction issues are happening in the courts right now, but you've got some other real estate issues that you might be able to address altogether. I would recommend getting a hold of the lawyer referral service and asking for a real estate lawyer in general, not necessarily a landlord tenant attorney, but just a real estate attorney, and have them address all of those different issues with you. I think that might be a little outside of the scope of what we have for this call here, because you've got some pretty specific things, especially.
Well, can you answer a specific question about this so-called HHS COVID public health emergency and not being able to raise rents under the federal government COVID relief legislation?
I'm not familiar with that specifically. I don't do the real estate aspect of it. Cliff, have you dealt with any of the COVID relief litigation?
Well, I'm not sure what specific question do you have at this point?
About landlords are supposedly not legally federal wise able to raise the rents or evict you.
Right. Well, you spoke about a criminal matter. A personal attorney can't bring a criminal action against somebody. That is up to the state.
Well, that's yes, sir. I don't mean to interrupt, but that is one landlord. I get that. He's the one in the past. I'm dealing with the one in the present who kept trying to evict me, and my lease will be up in November. And so I have not been able to find a tenant attorney, a criminal attorney. You're now referring me to a real estate attorney. The problem is, I'm guessing here, are all three of you just landlord attorneys, or do you all represent tenants?
And I mostly do probate, estates, and guardianship, and I've done some landlord tenant law as well, but that's not my primary practice area myself. But it sounds as if you're going to need to have some specific questions of someone that's dealt with the COVID relief stuff on there. And the lawyer referral service might have somebody listed that has, they may have a section there for specific COVID related real estate items. That'd probably be the way that I would go to find somebody for that.
And so you're sending me to a real estate attorney for that, or?
Well, it's a real estate attorney that's familiar with the COVID relief and does landlord tenant. So it's a very specific type of thing.
Do they exist here in Orange County?
I'm sure there's got to be one out there. I don't have any names that come to the top of my head, but that's where the lawyer referral service comes in. Is they've got a long list of attorneys.
I'm not trying to be conflictive here, but I have gone through all that. I've gone through that referral service, trying to find an attorney that represents a tenant in a situation clearly where the tenant has rights that have been violated on multiple levels, trying to find an attorney that will represent a tenant, and now look for one that also is a realtor, real estate, whatever, tenant, landlord. This is very overwhelming. And that's why I thought maybe here I would get clear direction on where to go and how to do this, because I can't handle it by myself.
Yeah, Lynn or Cliff, do either of you know where she might be able to turn?
Well, I'm not.
You're muted.
It's not clear to me exactly what the issue is, frankly, and I'm hesitant to give general advice on this. I understand you're having problems, but it's not clear to me what the specific issue is.
I have 3 problems. I have 2 landlords, both of which owe me a lot of money, one of which might be a criminal charge. And yes, sir.
If he owes you money, that would be a civil claim against him for money that he owes you.
Okay.
If it's a criminal claim, it would be, as I mentioned, that wouldn't be a personal attorney. Only the state can bring a criminal action. So you're going in the right direction by contacting the Attorney General. You may want to contact the state prosecutor's office.
Well, I've dealt with them and they're the ones that are telling me I need a criminal attorney.
Come on, really?
Yeah, no, I'm not joking. I'm a very intelligent woman and I have a lot of education, but I'm stuck with 2 landlords, a pandemic, federal laws, and neither of these landlords, have done anything right by any law, landlord tenant law for the state of Florida, much less pandemic laws. And I'm going to run out of this lease in November. I have to find a solution. And I have been trying to find the right attorney or attorneys. And this has been going on since 2020 and I'm nowhere. That's why I thought perhaps you all may have a referral or whatever. I appreciate your time, I do, but.
And I don't know if it's in the scope of the lawyer referral service, but maybe you can, if you could message, do a private message to Sarah there. Are you on Zoom on your computer?
Yes, I'm on Zoom with my phone.
Okay, so it says Sarah-OCLS. Send her a private message. I'm sorry, not. Hold on, which?
It's okay, Skiles. You can send a message to me, Rebecca, and we can try to figure out a way to direct you because we don't want to take too much time. So unfortunately, yeah, just go ahead and message me. We'll try to figure it out, and then we'll have to move on to the next question if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, so just message Rebecca-OCLS. Sorry, Rebecca. Do a private message with your contact info so she can reach back out to you. Or get somebody to reach back out to you.
I've been trying to ask her questions.
All right, and then.
All right, I'm so sorry. I just want to mention I have a list of everybody's name in order from 1 to so far 9. So our next person in line is Adrian Cockrell. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Adrian, are you there? All right, I do not see Adrian on here, so we're going to go to the next person there. The name is just Anna, A-N-A. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay. I see you're unmuted. Yeah, I can hear you, Anna. Go ahead.
Hello. I am calling because I currently have tenants. And I have a yearly contract with them. They're really great tenants. I just don't know what to do now. Should I add, they just recently had a baby. Should I add an addendum to the contract? They sent me an email letting me know that they just had a baby. So I just didn't know what to do forward. Should I add them to the contract as an addendum or? Because that's a new person living in the house.
Cliff, would you be able to address that? It should be fairly straightforward.
Yeah, there's the people, they have a, what is their agreement? What do they have an agreement for?
We have a yearly contract. I have a house that they're currently living on and they pay every month.
So they're renting?
Yes. Yes,
And
I am.
they've just had a baby.
That's correct, sir.
I think as long as your written lease says that it's for the family, or if it encompasses their family, I don't think it's necessary to modify that lease just to add the baby on.
Okay,
And if the lease does not address a family unit or anything like that, if it makes you feel comfortable to do an addendum that says, that just addresses that it's a family situation and their kids are okay, that shouldn't be an issue as well.
thank you for clarifying.
Right, it shouldn't be a problem to deal with that.
Okay, so it sounds to me that either or is okay.
I'm
Right,
sorry, I just need to make sure that I'm on your list there. This is Sonia Rodriguez.
Yes, you're number 8 on the list. Right now, we're still speaking to number 5.
Yep, almost there. And Anna, I think that the issue there with adding the baby, I don't see any overarching issues in regards to that. The baby can't sign contracts anyways, so you're not, if they had a 20-year-old kid that joined in to the house or something like that, that might be one thing, but having a new baby or a 2-year-old or whatever, that usually isn't an issue when it comes to, or I've not seen that when it comes to landlord tenant issues. I usually see it when it's the 20-something-year-old that moves back in.
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank
Great.
you very much for your time.
Thanks for your question. The next question is for Olga Ramos. Olga, can you hear me?
Yes, Nelson. Yes, I'm Olga husband, Nelson Ramos.
Okay, what's your question, Olga?
Yes, my question is, I have 2 questions. The first one, when there is already an HOA foreclosure sale by the judge, is there any remedy to stop it other than bankruptcy if offer to the HOA have been made for payment plan and they do not answer? What I can do, if anything?
And just so I understand, your question is there's an HOA sale that's going on of the property?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and is it already gone through the probate, or I'm sorry, the foreclosure process? And that there's a sale ordered, there's already been a buyer, or where are you at in that process?
In this process, I'm the owner of the house, and HOA go against me for a foreclosure sale.
Right, so the HOA has filed a foreclosure for you, and again, I'm just clarifying, they filed the foreclosure, and at the end of that foreclosure process, what typically would happen is a order is signed by the judge authorizing the sale of the property to satisfy whatever you owe to the HOA. And the HOA has not been not been responsive to you when you've tried contacting them?
They do not.
Not respond. Now they filed the foreclosure. There should be an attorney involved with that. Have you reached out to their attorney?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the attorney's not responsive either.
Okay. Yes, but what happened is that since last year, I was offering them different plan payments, and they ignore. They do not press any attention, any answer. I have all the emails that I sent to them, but I didn't receive any answer. And I said, why?
Right. So it sounds like, go ahead, Cliff.
Was this during the course of the litigation that you emailed them? Was the case in court when you sent the emails?
Yes.
Right. When the case is in court, you need to respond to the papers that have been filed with the court.
Yes, I did too. But what happened is that even when I spoke with, I tried to speak with the lawyers of the HOA lawyers, they told me that sent to them by email. I did that, but they do not answer me. And I don't know if they present that because they say I will be sending to the leading landing management, and then they are giving to the HOA,
right.
And directly will be decide. and give you an answer, but I still waiting at that answer for more than 1 year,
Right. If there's been, I'm just responding to what you've presented to us. And if there's been a case filed in the court and they're requesting relief from the court, it's very, very probable that you need to address your concerns to the court in a legal document, in a pleading that's responsive to what they've filed. And again, I don't know what's been filed, but that's my general response to what you're telling us.
Right, but what about if it is a final judgment?
Are you saying there's already been a final judgment signed?
Yes.
When was the final judgment signed?
It's gonna sell the house in July, second week of July, a specific day. And
yeah, I don't know whether you have any reason to ask the court to reconsider the situation or whether you have a right to appeal the judgment. I don't have enough information, but I mean, certainly bankruptcy is an option if you want to get rid of any deficiency judgment that might come against you, and just give them back the property. There are a lot of things that I don't know, so I don't want to give you wrong information.
But in any aspect, Olga, you're going to need to file something here quickly if you're going to be able to do anything, because you only have, like you said, several weeks until the sale happens. The sooner you can get somebody, the better. So there are folks that do specific HOA or condo association litigation, and that may be what I would recommend, is finding somebody that does HOA litigation. The lawyer referral service should have somebody on their list that handles that, and I would get in touch with somebody as soon as possible.
Okay, and my second question is very, very short one. When is the statutory limit apply for a mortgage?
When is the what limits? I'm sorry.
A statutory limit. A statutory limit.
For what?
It's a statutory limit for a mortgage, against a mortgage.
To file suit against a mortgage? Is that what you're asking?
Well, it's yes and no. It's a statutory. STA.
Right. You're saying the statutory limits, and just when there's a mortgage that's going on, anytime that mortgage is active, a suit can be brought. And if there's still a mortgage on it, they still want to get paid. Same thing with HOA fees. If there's HOA fees that are being assessed, they need to get paid. So they can bring the foreclosure action at pretty much any time, while you're living in that property, whoever owns that property.
Right.
Does that answer that question?
Yes, that's okay. I have only one question. What happened is that they do not do anything to go against me to collect the monthly payment for more than 10 years.
So you weren't paying the payment for 10 years and now they're coming after you?
Yes, correct.
Oh, I understand. Okay, so what you're asking is, hey, it was 10 years that they didn't collect everything. The issue is every month that it's owed starts that timer over again. So it's now not something from 10 years ago that you owe. It's something from last month, this month, the month before, that just keeps adding up and adding up and adding up.
Okay. They make a motion to the judge in which explain that they lost the note, that they doesn't know where is the note, if disappear, is steal or whatever. This is what the motion said, that they doesn't have the note, and 2 times they try to foreclosure me, and they can, and they closed. And in 2018, they sent a motion to the judge in which said that I pay a full amount of the HELOC that they converted that on a mortgage, on the first mortgage. I don't understand. I don't understand nothing about that.
Right, and it sounds like you're going to need to get somebody that's familiar with doing mortgage foreclosures and that type of thing. Again, I'll keep saying back to the lawyer referral service and ask for somebody that handles HOA litigation or foreclosure matters, and they should get you a name of somebody locally that can help you out.
Thank you so much for your time.
You got it, Olga. Have a good night.
Bye. Bye.
All right, and now the next person we have on the list is Mrs. Rodriguez. Can you hear me? I think it was it Sandra Rodriguez?
Sonia.
Sonia Rodriguez? Go ahead, I can hear you. What's your question?
Okay, so I'm selling this house that I have tenants in. Their lease is going to be up on June 30th. On the lease, it specifies that I can enter the house, access, that I have right to access the house in an event of an emergency, to make repairs or improvements, or to show the premises to prospective buyers or tenants. Landlord may also enter the premises to conduct an annual inspection to check for safety and maintenance problems. So my question is, I need to start repairs on the home now before the lease is up, which is June 30th. And most of the repairs are going to be done outside. So is that okay for me to do?
I'm going to turn this over to Cliff if that's okay. But the first thing I'll say is that your lease should also mention something about reasonable access, where you should have the ability to get onto the property with coordinating a time and date with the tenant, and they should be able to coordinate back with you a reasonable time, within so many days, whatever your lease will say. If it doesn't say something on there, you just need to coordinate with them specifically to find a reasonable amount of, a reasonable time to meet with them within a short period of time to be able to do those things.
Right. I have indicated on the lease that I would give them 12 hours notice before entering the premises. And since I have the right to access to show for the property and to make repairs, I imagine that's what I need to do.
And my first question would always be, what is your relationship with them? And if you have a decent relationship with them, just talk to them and say, hey tenant, I'd like to be out there on Friday morning. Is that okay with you? And I need to be able to do XYZ on the property. Okay. Is that okay with you? And just they say, oh no, Friday's not good, Thursday's better, Saturday's better. Just working with them for a good time that's mutually agreeable. That's usually my best recommendation on that. Cliff, do you have anything additional to?
So I can't just start the repairs outside. I mean, I'm not going to go inside the house.
Yeah, no, I would agree with Skiles. I think coordinate with them. That's the answer I would give as well.
Okay, and right now one of the tenants is very adamant about not being there when they're not home. So do I have any recourse there?
I would do just what Skiles suggested. I would work it out with them so that you do. They have a tenancy in the property, so it is important that you honor their tenancy, and the best way to do that is to work something out with them so that you can do it at an agreeable time.
Okay, and then the other thing that I need to do is do a trust. So who is the attorney that does that?
And for trusts, you heard Lynn's answer earlier in regards to trust. Lynn Aust can do trusts. I'm actually Cliff as well is a estate planning attorney, and myself as well as a estate planning attorney. Okay. You can contact the lawyer referral service. Let them know you were part of this Ask a Lawyer event, and say
Okay.
you want to get a hold of one of the attorneys that was speaking last night, and they'll get your contact information over to us.
Okay, well, how do you spell her last name?
That's Lynn, Aust.
Aust. Okay.
Lynn is great. Gotta love Lynn. She's great. All right, and then it is 7 o'clock, so we are going to wrap it up. But we have one more person on the list. So I have a Barbara Robinson. I'll give you the last question real quick. Quickly, what is your question?
Hi, it wasn't a question. It was when Shannon was speaking. I just wanted to share one little thing with her. I don't know if it might help. Shannon, are you there?
It still shows that she's on. There she is. Go ahead.
Okay, so a couple years ago, I had to sue my landlord, and I had to end up doing it myself. So you may have to go down to Orange County, and they usually have some forms there when you want to sue your landlord, because it tells you the amount that the landlord owes or how much you think the landlord owes you. And you can write that information on it and submit it to the court. And
Which
that could
court?
be a good
Is
Orange
that-
County on
Yeah.
Orange Avenue.
No. Which court? Ninth Court or small claims?
Small claims, yes, small claims. So and they have the self-service help office there. I think it's on the 3rd floor or somewhere like that, where they can get some general information out to you. But I know they do have areas where you can sue your landlord, and that can give you a good start. And you want to start it as soon as possible, because that probably could help put a dent in the landlord's. If he's really abusive, that probably could help. It may get worse, but how much worse can it go if they're doing bad stuff to you? So that's a good start. You just have to start yourself. If you don't have a lawyer, then maybe somewhere along the line, you might end up getting a lawyer that may be able to help you with the other real estate area. But if you need the landlord to stop and get some money back to you, you're going to have to sue that landlord. And I think one of the lawyers mentioned that to you earlier on.
Right, and thank you, Barbara. There is on the 3rd floor of the courthouse there. They have the self-help center, and Roberta was talking about that earlier. So that you can do a Google search for the self-help center of the Orange County Clerk of Court, and there's forms and such. They can't give you the legal advice, but they can give you forms and such to be able to do some of those things.
Yeah,
all right,
and
great.
the judges are usually good if you have the evidences that fits into law, and the judges are really good with make sure you get your money back. You just have to prove the evidences in accordance to the laws, and you'll be fine.
You got it, Barbara. Thank you so much for that. And thanks everyone for attending our Ask a Lawyer event this evening. Please contact the Orange County Bar Association's Lawyer Referral and Information Service to be referred to an attorney for a free consultation up to 30 minutes. You may be charged for speaking with the attorney or any services provided beyond the initial consultation. Now I'll turn it over to Rebecca for her final closing remarks.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much to our speakers. We appreciate your time and your expertise. We really appreciate, thank you so much for answering the questions tonight and getting through all of them. I want to thank the attendees for all joining us tonight and asking your questions. We appreciate it. I do want to mention to all of you that I will be sending up a follow-up email to all of you with some resources that were given to us today, either during the session or by the Orange County Bar Association for your benefit. So please look forward to that email. If you have any questions following up, please send an email back to me following from that email. All right. And thank you so much. We hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Good job, Skiles.